Oh, read it. We are in it to win it.
Absolutely.
All right, we're starting episode 8. The first section is called Captaining My Ship of State. I am leaving my old perspective. I've set a course for the open sea because I've got to be free, free to face the world that's ahead of me. On board this ship, I am the captain, not of your world, but what I'm making of mine. The band Styx painted the right idea in their song, Come Sail Away, whereby I, you, each of us must choose to become the captain of our own ship. If each of us takes ownership of our ship and begins steering to change the view, our perspective, we can head to whatever shore we set our will for. I can't ask you to go first, so this is my captain's log of my will and intent. I know this is what our benefactors had in mind for us all along, but left it to our discretion. We exercise that discretion to have an experience without control of our ship, giving up our captaincy. But now our benefactors are signaling it's time to take back our controls, to return to being the captains we once were. The signals are all around us and growing ever stronger every day. As I like to say, you don't have to smack my hand with a hammer 50 times before I move it. 13 times will do. So, if I take back my controls and resume my authority as captain, I now accept the responsibility of my ship's course. I can continue sailing into storms, or I can sail around them. I decide the provisions I take on board, and I set the course. I will obey my will and no others, and trust my will to effect a course in keeping with the highest will that steers us all. I will respect the rights and wills of other captains to steer their own course and will provide aid and navigational assistance only in keeping with the highest will, my will, and the wills of other captains. Hey, this is my ship, so get control of your own. What I envision is a fleet of ships, growing in number every day, answering to the collective will of those ships. Each ship is powered by the will's wind of its captain. There will be no first ship to join the fleet, as there is no fleet of one, but an aligning of wills to the one will that steers us all. This is a volunteer fleet with no hold over its captains, but where said captains hold their own according to their will. Each captain accepts the gravity of their responsibility and how the fleet affects each captain, and each captain affects the fleet. I, as the captain of my own ship, will now prepare my ship for the fleet's voyage. The layout must change to my liking, down to the very controls that operate its function. I will effect these repairs not in keeping to old standards, but made to order for my ship to abide my new understanding of my will of wills. Nothing gets thrown out or added, nothing changed or to stay the same without my explicit review and approval. I will make this ship of mine exactly to my liking, with a freedom of my will and imagination to guide its construction. My first act as captain is to assess me as the captain. I, as captain, set the tone and tenor of my ship through confidence in knowing my will and applying my intent. Everything must flow from my will. It is my reason for being, the one star in my sky that never changes. It won't take me it won't take me to a place, but a state of being as I voyage this experience. That state of being will guide me in all that I do and in every decision I make. My will is not out there. It is my ideal state of presence I wish to maintain inside as I go about living. If I am true to my will inside, all outward affectations will fall away until all that remains is a faithful representation of my will. Things that happen to me on the outside are each used as a gauge to show me how close or how far I am to my ideal state. Prior to accepting my captaincy, events and things have been served to me automatically so that I could experience them and gauge their closeness to my will. I then, erroneously, believed I went about changing outward things to make them align to my will, when in fact, I changed myself internally to more align with my will, and thereby the outward thing changed to show the effect. Otherwise, I made no change internally, and the outward thing appropriately made no change. As captain now, I will look to outer things as the gauges they are and know that I do not change them. They are but a backdrop to my current state. To change them, I must change my perspective within me. As I gain confidence with this view, I will I will slowly begin to select my own things to experience and use as my gauges, and adjust myself according to how close or how far I am from my own will. To do this and become the captain of my will, I must evaluate all things that occur regularly in my life, particularly my attachments. If they are occurring regularly with little or no change, then I must accept that I am not changing relative to them, or more importantly, I am not moving closer to my will or my ideal state of presence. The more attachments I have, the less movement I am making toward my ideal state, and the more reliant I am on external things to try to mimic my ideal state. Each attachment is a boat anchor holding me in place, preventing me from beginning my voyage, much less joining a fleet of anchor-free captains. Once I realize and admit that external things will never provide my ideal state of free navigation because they are but stationary gauges, I can then begin to evaluate their hold on me. The things themselves are neither good nor bad. It is my use of them as boat anchors that prevent me from moving towards my will and ideal state. I don't necessarily need to remove the thing from my life, only its hold on me. Things and people are here for me to experience, gauge that experience relative to my will, and adjust my perspective of beliefs, expectations, and knowings to align more with my will. Things and people were never meant to hold me in place, only act as guides towards my ideal place. True, unselfish love holds no one and no thing in place, but guides and frees them to pursue their ideal state. This is a big ask of me, from me, to release everything I hold dear and free them to be whatever they are to be. But if I don't do that, I know that I'm holding them back from moving to their ideal state. Plus, I'm holding myself back, and neither are a stance of unselfish love. So if I do choose to release everything, what does that mean? Won't I lose my place in this world? How will I then define myself? People and things don't give me a place in my view of this world. They reflect what I perceive my place to be. If I use them to define me, then my place is only relative to them. If I am not allowed to move beyond that definition of me, then that is confinement, whether they are the ones holding me in place or I am using them to hold me in place. The only way to find the true me is to be free of confinement. Free of any confinement allows me to move, but move where? Toward my ideal state, which I know is the state I wish to create inside me. How close to that am I? Well, if I am free of confinement and thus free of attachments, I can interact with people or things and gauge my reactions to them to assess my state. The feeling I get when I engage with them conveys to me my state of being. So, if I were to define me, it would be the state I am in while moving to the state I wish to be in. Is it possible that this whole living experience began with setting a starting state and an ending state, and then experiencing the process of moving between those 2 points? If that is so, then I am living a life that I manifest between 2 states. Wow. Do you know what this means? This means I'm done. I've come full circle. There's nothing more to write. So goodbye. This manifesto is complete. See ya.
Okay. All right. I was like, wow.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Even Dottie, Terry, and Deshaun chimed in with, "What the hell? Yes. You better sit your butt down, cinch up those britches, and spill those beans you call brains." I guess I deserve that for how I handle things. But hey, I did say bye.
She did.
Okay, here's what happened. As I was writing that last bit about starting and end points and manifesting my life experience between those 2 points, something just clicked in place. I realized all the pieces are here now in this manifesto for how this whole living and experiencing works. Hey, I said they were here. I never claimed to have made any of them clear. So, what I've been beating around the bush to say is that all of the construction materials to build my dream house have been delivered on site, and now I have only to build the house. Yes, I know. I don't have the house plans completed yet. So maybe I jumped the gun by saying I'm done. Okay. I did jump the gun. There is more to write, and this is not goodbye. This just reminds me of calculus class when I was young, and I had this beast of an exam with just one calculus problem to solve, and you had to show all your work. There I was, somewhere in the middle, trying to solve it. And bling! It all came together in my mind, and I knew what the solution was. I was so thrilled with myself that I all but stood up to go turn it in until my senses returned to say, "Hey, Dingleberry, you still have to write this sucker out and convince your professor you can calc and that you didn't cheat off of Sandy sitting next to you." So I will now calm my excitement, sit back down, and relay to you what put magic jumping beans in my britches. Remember, this is my solution, my house plans, and my captain's log. I share this willingly, but I truly do know that developing your own is crucial to your captaincy because you've got to be free. Free to face this world that's ahead of thee. On board your ship, you are the captain, so the story goes. You'll set a course for the open sea and master how your wind blows. because that is the life you really chose.
Mm.
Okay, enough of me slicing and dicing Styx hit lyrics. I wouldn't want us to miss out on our pot of gold. Okay, I'll stop. Okay, I'll stop. What clicked for me is a clarity of knowing that all of the threads, strands, filaments, and fibers of my idyllic voyage are now before me, and I have but to weave them together into a tapestry of heres and nows.
Mm.
Until now, I've pulled out the pieces and parts to better understand their inner workings and how each relates to the whole, preparing my storyboard for my creation. Here and now, though, I needle into the theme of my weave and the yarn of my vision.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll stop there.
Really good.
Any thoughts? Any reprimands? Any?
No, I'm glad you're back.
I know. I like the way you explained it though, like a problem, like a word problem where you get what you get, but then you have to explain it out, write out how you got there.
Yep.
That's how I'm like, oh, but I don't have that, that explanation.
Yeah, calculus taught me that. I love calculus. I love math,
Mhm.
but I had alternative ways of solving my problems, and my professors did not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I had to conform. Meanwhile, I had a better way.
Mhm.
And when I did a final exam full of my own way, showed all my ways work, and got every problem correct,
Mm-hmm.
my professor gave me an F.
Wow. That's why I have Charlotte. She's in tutoring because that's how her brain works. It doesn't work like the way the teacher teaches. So
Yep.
she gets it, but a different way.
Yeah, I never claimed to be normal.
Neither did I.
I thought I was. I
Yeah.
thought I
I
was all the way
tried.
until I got into college, and I started going,
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was in the Marine Corps that I realized, yeah, I'm definitely not normal.
Mhm.
But I know what normal is now.
Mm-hmm.
What used to be normal.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I don't know what normal is now because I don't think there is a normal.
It's changing.
So.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's funny. I wasn't normal, and I wanted what I thought was what normal was. I sought out to get that, and then I got that, and I was like, oh no, this is not what I want.
Yes, please. I'll have what she's having. Some of the non-normal.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that before. It's like there was just a feeling of not fitting into the mold or something. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
No, we can keep going. I've only
that's
got a couple more pages. So,
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we
Go
go.
for it.
This one is entitled "A Now for My Will to Fill."
Mm.
A now for my will to fill. Excuse me. I must now let go of my past. It served me in the times I was in and prepared me for this now. Yet now it anchors me in my past, holding me still. My will now summons me elsewhere, to a state of mind only my heart can fill. I did this once, many moons ago, when I was but a new world child, unbidden to a past that now grieves me so. I now choose not to fight with it, offering it no resistance to stay fit. But I will steal its energy to power my imagination to see. With newly opened eyes, I see into my space, no longer a cowering child or a race I must chase. But instead, I do gather, a child of my will, free to live beyond its past, for a now only my will can fill.
Yeah. That's good. Mm. That's really good.
good?
Mhm.
I was gonna say I get some you a tissue, but I'm looking for like a beach towel.
Oh, that's good. Mm.
We good? Anybody have anything they want to say before I hit the last section?
Mm-mm.
We good?
I
All
don't
right,
wanna take anything away from that.
here we go. All right, this last section is called "We Settled for Then, but We Awakened to the Now."
Mm.
What are we doing here with our breathing, drinking, eating, farting, and working? Only to get up tomorrow to more breathing, eating, farting, and working. Do we eat so we can eat and drink so we can drink and work? Who says so? As one of our favorite bands, Sugarland, sings about in Something More, there's got to be something more. Got to be more than this. I need a little less hard time. I need a little more bliss. I'm going to take my chances, taking a chance I might find what I'm looking for. There's got to be something more. They also sing in their song of settling with, I ain't settling for just getting by. I've had enough so-so for the rest of my life. Tired of shooting too low, so raise the bar high. Just enough ain't enough any this time. I ain't settling for anything less than everything. What does it take to awaken us to our settling? And what then urges us to wonder, is there nothing more to this so-so? Well, what it takes is now beginning to arrive on a platter for all to see. Some will rail to the unfairness. Some will cry at the injustice. And still others will stammer of the seriousness at the seriousness. But I will celebrate in the stumbling early steps of our coming togetherness. Roar, shout, moan, cry it all out, for that is the release of our settling and the start to our wondering, is there nothing more? I congratulate you on your coming unveilings and your nuptials between your very own will and joy. May their matrimony walk hand in hand within your hearts from this day forward. Many are just now awakening to the idea that their life is now changed. Their weekly day-to-day is now more like their weekends, or a storm of the century shut-in, or a forced destination-less vacation. This is the start to the uprooting of our status quo, to the stirrings of our moving, to the inspiration of our creation. There are still remnants of orders telling you what to do, how to be, and what to think. And we will abide or sidestep according to the status of our betrothal of will and joy. But fear not, for the command that issues those orders is now itself under siege and approaching its Waterloo. And nothing they do can keep the sleeper from awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Cherish these times, even in hardship, for they will stand upon podiums rings of your Olympic training once the games begin and wither into memory's oblivion within the ensuing celebrations of rebirth. We don't know it yet, but we're about to hit the jackpot. I can't give you your exact where, when, and how. That is for you to imagine and for you to allow. Just know we weave this here and now a coming from the imaginations of our own will. Now I'm done.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, in light of what's going on right now, I mean, we are creating based on our own will, and you can see the different storylines playing out with people, even in today's.
Yep.
Yeah.
People, I
It's
mean,
very interesting.
other than the bare necessities when it comes to the workforce, everyone else is home.
Working from home or not working. Yeah.
Right. But there's a lot of people. Yeah, sure. There's people that are used to working from home that are working from home, and but there's a lot of people that are not used to working from home that are now either working from home or they're off.
Or
They're just flat out off. They basically are on a permanent weekend.
Yeah, and then some of them are working from home and educating their kids, and so all these scenarios are playing out.
So it's all
differently.
hitting.
And in each household, there's like a little universe, and it depends on what ingredients they have. It's very different from household to household.
Yeah. So some people are going to be busy, but most people are going to have so much time on their hands. I already talked about it. You're going to have so much time on their hands that they're not going to know what to do, and that is going to spark creativity.
Well, I've got two 20-something guys that live across the street. They were like throwing the football outside. They've been jogging. They can't because they both work out. I've seen them go stir crazy. I've been watching my neighbors, just seeing how everybody's handling things.
Yeah, that's just the start. They're pulling out the stuff that they know, but pretty soon they're going to start doing things they've never done before because why not?
Yeah, there's some that are painting, some are writing, and it's what, week 2 or 3 now, mostly been week 2. It's like people go through 1 week and they'll be like, okay, well, and then the second week, but wait till it's the 6th week or the 7th week. I mean, that's when people start getting, okay, we got to do something different because they're not used to being home. So it's going to be very interesting. And the craft stores, actually, the crafts are selling like hotcakes in the store because people are wanting something to do with it.
Yeah, I saw those paint and sip places are sending packets of paintings home so you could do it at home and learn how to do it. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, online trainings for everything from painting to playing an instrument to all kinds of
I'm loving seeing so many people getting out there and sharing their gifts, just doing yoga classes just for everybody free. It's beautiful to see everyone just doing their thing, and sharing it with everyone.
Yeah,
I love it.
Going to start happening more and more as people become more comfortable with it and realize that there's nothing to risk.
I shared about breathing tonight, belly breathing, and just for immune support, gratitude breathing, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm working on my toe breathing. My hair breathing. I'm working on my beard breathing.
But yeah, it is. It's very uplifting to see. But it depends on your perspective as to what your reality of the experience of this is.
People are free to do whatever that is. If they want to keep themselves confined, they're going to keep themselves confined. And we all have to break out of our own confinement. No one's going to break you out.
Well, exactly.
But you can get inspiration from others, and that's what we're doing. We're doing stuff new, and then we share it. We do YouTube videos, or we just share it on whatever social media, and get inspired by it, or just pass it along, retweet it, whatever.
Yeah. Plus, it's transitioning us from having to physically connect to energetically and virtually connecting with people and having that same socializing kind of aspect of it, but you don't have to physically be in the same room together, and it's very interesting.
It's true, because I just met Tim the other day for the first time in real life, but it was no different. And then even my 2 friends that I've only known on Facebook that I got to meet in real life, it was like no different. I mean, it was really cool to be able to meet in the 3D, but it's like no different.
Exactly, because you can have, if you open your heart and you use the tools that are here, you can connect. You can definitely connect and feel that connection. Yeah.
And people are getting the early rumblings of the drive to become their own captains. What I wrote about. All this is my symbolic way of what I see coming and how we can handle it or approach it or look at it. I'm going inside. That's what I've been doing for some time now. I want all this to make sense to me. I'm not saying head sense. I use my head to figure some of this out, but I just want it to resonate with me. I want to have an approach before I step out, before I set sail out of the harbor. I want all my provisions all stationed appropriately, and I want to know where everything is within my ship. And that's my impetus now. And no one tells a captain where to put stuff. No one tells a captain how they can do this and how they can do that. Yeah, they have to keep things under a certain speed inside the harbor, but once they get outside the harbor, they are the captain of their ship. There is no one to tell them what to do. So that's what we're aimed for. Whether you know it or not, that's what. Once the first few start doing it and start creating fleets, they're not going to want to leave anyone behind. And so there just keeps, they'll venture out and then they'll come back and say, "You ready? Go? Okay, well, we'll be back then," and go back out and then come back a year. How about now? So it's, you take your time, you do it at your own pace, what you feel comfortable with. Meanwhile, I'm going to celebrate. Someone said, "Well, how can you celebrate while everyone's, feeling this pain or that pain?" That's because they're choosing it. I'm choosing this. I'm showing them that there's another choice.
Reminds me of because what came through was freedom. It's the freedom of being your own captain, the freedom, but with that comes a lot of responsibility for yourself and for your wake. You
can't be a victim anymore. You can't say, "Well, what about me?" You can't do it. If you're your own captain, it's all on you. It's if you need to stop by an island to pick up some provisions, so whatever, capture dinner, whatever you need to do, then you do that. You don't say, "Well, I'm just going to sit here and wait till someone comes along to help me."
Yeah, very good. I like it. They weren't sure you were coming back.
I said I was done.
I was like, okay.
The manifesto has a playlist going too, with some music.
Yes, exactly.
You have to create like the Spotify playlist for this.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, very good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, sorry there were no AIs or plaids this time. The captain and me needed to make his proclamation, and this was my captain's log.
I love it, and
I love it. Yeah,
I think we're all having our choice points right now as to what we take.
Yeah, because I'm not telling anyone how to do it or what to do or any of that. This is not what this is. This is my recording of what I'm going through, how I'm going about it. You mix and match, do it, be inspired, poke holes in it, make fun of it, because I'm not going to defend it. So I hope people enjoy it, have fun with it.
Yeah, because my boat's not even a boat. I mean, it can go in the water if I want it to, but it's not even a boat. It's like nothing, it's clear, and then it'll be whatever I need it to be when I need it to be there, but it's not a boat.
Well, mine's just a dinghy with one oar. So I keep going around in circles.
And I don't even know what I'm bringing. I just have the magical thing that just creates what I need when I need it.
Jenny, stop. Jenny, we know that you're not going to be on a boat. You're going to be on the back of a dragon. We already know it. So don't even go there. You're front right now.
With a baby dragon on my shoulder too.
Yeah, Cinder go faster. Cinder say, go faster. Yeah, so don't even front with us. You can at least, kind of vicariously, live our stories. but don't pretend that you're going to be down on the water, when
No.
you're flying over it, burning it up,
So
evaporate.
you're like, where am I just gonna hang out when I'm not doing anything else? I'm like, where's my chill spot gonna be when I'm not doing any of my other stuff? What's my little cloud room gonna look like?
You're gonna be urging your dragon, lower, lower. I need to evaporate some water for my tea.
Yep.
Well, that's the evaporation. Evaporates and you catch it in your cup.
Mm-hmm. Or I need to get a fruit off that tree. I want it right off the tree. Let me pluck it.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, honey, for sharing.
Thank you. Yes.
You're wicked. That was enjoyable. I didn't know how that was gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
and I was wavering even earlier today until I told you. I didn't tell you what I was doing.
No.
She didn't even know what I was gonna do. I just said, whatever you do, don't stop.
No, we were both looking at each other like, what in the world just happened?
It's like, okay, what are we gonna do?
What do we do now?
The captain has left the building.
Where's the dragon?
Yeah.
Jenny, take over, and don't burn the screen.
Oh, shoot.
All right,
Good deal. All right.
we're burning the bush.
Yes. Bye, everybody.